Alrighty, 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I know I'm probably starting this at an interesting time today, but I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome in. Happy Friday to each and every single one of you. It is gonna be a wonderful weekend, and I know I've been gone for a little bit of I guess a long while, if you will. Had to deal with some personal stuff, which is why I was gone for a good month. So I apologize to a lot of you that were looking forward to seeing this again. But a lot has happened over the past month. And I just got to do what I got to do at this point. We got a long, lengthy schedule coming today and throughout the weekend. We'll see how all this will go. We got some potential me commentating some games for you guys. Hopefully we can get some live feed here in the chat, and it's probably the audio on the live feed is going to be muted, so it's going to be me talking the whole time. But it's all going to be courtesy of the stream that I'm getting it from. So hopefully we can get those live, and we'll be rocking and rolling. But I got a lot of updates for you guys. We got, we're down to 2 teams left in the college football playoff, if you guys didn't know that. It's down to Miami and the Indiana Hoosiers, so we'll be getting into that today. We're down to 8 teams left in the NFL playoffs. Going to be breaking down each one of those teams going into the weekend. And who my picks are going to be coming out of the divisional rounds, and what the AFC and NFC championships are going to look like potentially. Going into some NBA All-Star votes and what that looks like, and what my thoughts are on all of that, along with what the stars are looking like, and an updated list on the NBA standings, and what the top five and bottom 5 teams look like. Looks like the bottom 5 didn't really change much from a month. There's just like a little bit of some number changes, and we'll get into that shortly here. But for right now, we are going to be looking into getting into a whole bunch of different stuff, along with potentially getting into, I want to say, why is this? Why does this look like it's not all the way live? Are we switched up? We're switched up, right? Okay, that's got a different thing. That does not have a different thing. What the heck is happening? But we're also going to try and just make sure that this is actually live before we get too in depth, because for right now this is not showing what I am seeing. If I refresh the page here, get that out of here, get that out of here, get that out of here. Why is this not? Are we not live anymore? What the heck? Why is... So that's showing that. Why are we not... Oh. Dang, I probably need to update a couple different things. Oh well, we can do that later. The one thing... There we go. Okay. Alright. Cool. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna try to get into this a little bit. Um, let's see. We'll get into the college football playoff a little bit later, I think, because I think we're probably gonna try to narrow this down to about probably an hour. Um, oh, another thing that we're gonna dive into is all the head coaching vacancies and the as of us being live right now. Um, they're finalizing a deal with John Harbaugh being signed as the new head coach for the New York Giants. So there's potential for that to get into full fruition here as we're live. So we're probably going to be breaking down the live, um, I guess the live reaction, I guess if you will, from around the league. I'm just trying to just see if there's any new updates from Schefter. Right now it doesn't look like there's anything right now. Because I'm just trying to keep it live on X here. But let me see. Let me see if I can get like a live feed down in the lower third here. So we're. By the way, really appreciate all of you guys for popping into the stream. You guys are awesome. We're gonna just try to flip over real quick because I need to search for Schefter, see if he's got an update for us. Interviewing for the Tennessee Titans job, Jonathan Gannon. That's not anything new there. Steph Curry doing Steph Curry things. What the heck? Why are we halfway down the page? That's awesome. Alright, so we're going to start getting into the previews for the division round games getting into this weekend. And you know what? Why don't we start with the Bills versus the Broncos here, because that's the first game that's going to be kicking off at 1:30 p.m. I believe that is our time, so Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, which would be 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As of right now, and it looks like with the matchup predictor and stuff like that is a very good split, which is awesome. So I would be willing to bet you that, I mean, and there were a lot of talking heads that I was listening to over the course of this past week, and I don't disagree with the fact that this is a must win for the Bills still, and I think throughout this entire playoffs right now it is a must win for the Bills, because like all the talking heads have been saying, there's no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, and now there's no Justin Herbert, and there's also no Joe Burrow. So I mean, and granted, some of you guys are probably going to be looking at me like, well, what is what does Justin Herbert have to do with, Josh Allen not making it all the way? Well, I mean, the argument is there was good quarterback play as to why Josh Allen hasn't been the quarterback that he could or should be. You know what I'm saying? And this is going to be a testament to not only how good Josh Allen is going to be coming into this weekend, but B, how good Bo Nix is going to be coming out of this weekend. Because you can look at me and say, okay, yes, there's going to be it's going to be a back and forth game between both of these teams, but also you could look at the way that the Bills defense and how how many injuries there are coming off of a wild card weekend for the Bills, and Denver Broncos having a week off coming into this game, being, well, they clearly had the advantage because they had the week off, so forth and so on, right? Well, uh, in my personal opinion, I see this as it's going to be a tight matchup all the way through. Um, Personally, whoever's going to come out on top, obviously, is going to be deserving of it. Um, I'm not going to throw referees in here or anything like that because I don't really think that that's going to be a factor here. And in all seriousness, regardless of how good these defenses are, it's going to be which quarterback is going to have the higher completion percentage, but also like which QBR is going to be better from either of these players. Um, so, oh, what? Oh, I didn't realize I was going to have to add a title. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to add titles to the clips that I'm going to be making here? That's crazy. Clip 1. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so okay. I'm also doing my own editing and stuff like that too. So anything that I'm gonna be like saying and stuff like that is gonna be, um, a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna be coming out with and whatnot in terms of predictions and stuff like that is gonna be, um, clipped and stuff like that. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to, um, send all the clips on all my socials and stuff like that. So I'm basically doing everything today. So once again, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. But again, so, and where was I? Okay, so with the Broncos and the Bills, so what do we got? J.K. Dobbins out on injury. Jordan Phillips is out. We got Ed Oliver as potential return. Ty Johnson, Terrell Bennett, Curtis Samuel, all potential returns as well. So I mean, and again, with this one, I don't really know exactly who is gonna go. Yeah, I don't really think there's going to be any clear favorite here in this game, regardless of what the injuries are from both of these teams. Um, yeah, it's just there's not really much else that I can really say about both these teams except it's just going to be an all-out battle. It's going to be in Denver, and I think both these teams match up pretty well. Um, I mean, regardless of how these teams have gotten to this point in the season. Um, but yeah, give me who am I gonna pick in this game though? As much as I want the Denver Broncos to win because they're the number 1 seed and I think they are going to win at home, I kind of want to see Josh Allen succeed, get a win on the road in Denver, and move on to an AFC Championship game. And I actually think that that's going to happen too. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to find a way to win. Just find a way to win on the road. I think it'd be really tough. I think it'd be really tough for both of these teams. I mean, honestly, whichever quarterback is going to make the mistake is really going to be the deal breaker here, in my personal opinion. So, well, we'll see what happens. But anyhow, that's all from that game. Moving on to 49ers in Seattle, kicking off at 5 on Fox. To this point, both these teams are 1-1. They faced each other week 1 and week 18. Week 18, obviously, for the number 1 seed for Seattle and San Francisco, and now they're battling it again here in the divisional round. It looks to me like both of these teams are. I mean, obviously they're both division rivals, so they're both going to be right in the mix in terms of what they're going to be, knowing from both sides of the ball. It's going to be really, really tough, in my personal opinion, regardless of what they have gotten to this point or how they have gotten to this point. Because, you take a look at what they. I don't want to be counting the 49ers out. Obviously don't, because they got a really good roster. Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan has done an amazing job, even without their stars. For the 49ers, it is... it's amazing that the 49ers have even gotten to this point. I'm not saying that the 49ers are going to lose this game. Or get blown out by Seattle, but I think this is going to be a repeat of week 18 where we're going to see where we're going to see a back and forth between both these teams. Seattle's defense is going to look as dominant as it has been all season. Maybe in a different aspect than in week 18, but in my personal opinion, I would want to see the Seattle offense to come out aggressive and not come out conservative. Here's why. I think if they come out conservative against the 49ers, they turn this game into basically almost a week 18 look-alike, in terms of San Francisco could potentially have a chance to win this game in the later stages of the second half. But if anything, if Seattle's offense can somehow find a way to just bring their A game offensively and just absolutely attack the defense of the 49ers, especially at home with the type of crowd that they got, it's obviously going to be electric in Seattle. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch for sure, especially since, obviously it's a divisional round, so it's NFL playoffs, so what else can you ask for? But watch Seattle. Obviously as a Seattle fan, I'm probably going to I'm really hoping Seattle wins this game, and in all fairness, to this point, Seattle, in my personal opinion, has overexceeded expectations, because there's a couple things going on here. Number one, I knew with them getting rid of Geno Smith and bringing in Sam Darnold, there was going to be there were a lot of question marks coming into this season for Seattle, and especially getting rid of DK Metcalf. We needed to get rid of that guy. I'm sorry, and this probably is not going to be a good take, but we needed to get rid of DK Metcalf because he had way too many needless extracurricular stuff, even on the field and off the field, that was just like, okay, we need to just get this guy out of here, right? Because it just wasn't reflecting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't much to really speak of, in my personal opinion. Alright, just add more to that clip there. Got it. Oh. Yeah. but the thing is, I don't know exactly what the final score of this game is going to be. Obviously, both of these teams, in my personal opinion, are pretty even, except for the stars from both teams, because obviously there's a lot more injuries for San Fran than there is for Seattle. Um, I think the biggest question that I have is how well is Sam Darnold going to play in this game? If he doesn't turn the ball over and has himself a lights out game, I mean, looking at his stats, I mean, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards in the regular season, and it's awesome to see. Um, but again, like I said, I did not even think that Seattle was going to be the top team in this division to this point, let alone being the number one seed in the entire conference. So they, in my opinion, over exceeded expectations, um, and with them being the number one seed, I mean, let's just go for the trophy. Honestly, let's go for that Super Bowl trophy. I mean, come on, like what, like what else? What else are you gonna ask for out of Seattle at this point, right? Like, I don't know what else you can ask out of Seattle. You know what I mean? Like, especially since you're gonna be at home all the way. As long as you win tomorrow against the 49ers, you're going to be at home for the NFC Championship in Seattle. Like let's bring it home, right? Let's bring home an NFC Championship. Let's bring home a Super Bowl trophy. Like, let's do it, right? Um I mean, geez. But anyhow, give me Seattle in this game though, because I think with the way that they handled their business, um, what was it, in Santa Clara 2 or 3 weeks ago, um, it was just, I mean, it was hard for me not to. I mean, it's hard for me right now to pick San Fran over Seattle right now. Reason being is, yes, they're going to play well without their stars. And, I mean, obviously, that's just going to be Kyle Shanahan and Robert Sala's MO defensively, is they're just going to continue to play hard defensively. But it's just going to be a matter of, obviously, how well, um, you know, the Seattle Seahawks offense is going to be against a 49er defense coming into at least the very beginning. I think the defense of Seattle's going to wear out San Francisco's offense, but we'll see. Because, I mean, I have been hearing a bunch of stats about how Seattle's defense hasn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in like weeks, if not even a season and a half or something like that. It sounds like I could be completely wrong about that stat line, but um, anyhow, but yeah, give me Seattle in this game. Give me Buffalo in the earlier game, and then we're gonna move into Sunday's games between Texans and the Patriots. All right, key, huge matchup right here. Um, and obviously, all these games coming into this weekend are just going to be big matchups in general, just because it's playoff central for all these teams. But with both Drake May and New England Patriots up against the Texans, this is going to be a tough. Um, this is going to be a tough road ahead for the Texans, because even though they do have the number two defense in the National Football League right now, how well is CJ Stroud going to play in this game? From what I've been told and to my knowledge, he did not have a great game against the Steelers, and basically the Texans' defense was basically what helped in terms of the way that the Texans' defense scored, was how they won against the Steelers, which completely true. Um, very, very hard to root against the Texans at this point defensively, but also how well is Drake May going to play against this Texans defense too? Because I mean, in a sense, you could say that this isn't even like a Drake May versus C.J. Stroud matchup per se. You could say that this is a Drake May versus a Houston Texans defense matchup, and whoever's going to win in that matchup as a whole is going to win this game come Sunday. I mean, obviously both these teams are coming off a hot win in the wild card rounds versus their respective teams. Obviously Houston against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Patriots against the Chargers. But I mean, and I could be completely wrong, but it's gonna be a tough. How do I want to put this? Like not a tough sell, but I think it would be very hard for the Texans to win this game if C.J. Stroud does not take care of the football. I mean, granted, the Texans defense can find a way to score points, obviously. I mean, they did it against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's I just don't see the Texans winning this game if C.J. Stroud doesn't play well. And maybe I'm completely wrong. But I kind of want to go underdog in this one. I kind of think that as much as the Patriots have been playing well all season versus their respective teams, and a lot of you are probably going to be saying, well, but they had a weaker schedule, yada yada yada. In my personal opinion, that needs to be thrown to the wayside, regardless of how these two teams got to this point in the season. They're here. But give me the Texans in this game because I think the Texans defense is probably once again what is going to be the biggest factor in this game. Don't get it twisted. I think Drake May is going to be, great in this game again, like he was in the wild card round against the Chargers and how he's been playing all season long for the Patriots. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be really, really tough. I think it's going to be a really close game between both these teams. I think it's going to be tough for Drake May to try to pull away. I mean, obviously, I think all these playoff matches coming into the weekend for the NFL is going to be close matches. I don't think there's going to be a single blowout unless one team just absolutely falls on their face coming into the game or something. But outside of that, I don't think there's going to be a single. I don't think there's going to be a single close game coming into or coming into any of these games coming into the weekend, but also in terms of what we're going to see in terms of final scores. I think they're all going to be close. But anyhow, let's see here. But yeah, give me the Texans to win this game. So AFC matchup or AFC Championship matchup, in my personal opinion, I think it's going to be the Texans against the Bills. In my personal opinion, the Patriots also over exceeded expectations to this point because a lot of people were looking at them as a rebuild, including myself. And for them to get to this point, with how well Drake May has been playing for the Patriots and how well Mike Vrabel as a coach has completely changed the Patriots organization as a whole, really, really, really put this team into a very, very good situation. So, I mean, for them to even get to this point is very, very commendable is the right word that I'm looking for here. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be some losing teams coming out of this weekend, but, I mean, give me the Texans that look like they're a slight underdog in this game, according to Matchup Predictor on ESPN. Um, but yeah, give me the Texans defense to beat the Patriots in what is it, Foxborough? Yeah, I know my shit in Gillette Stadium. Um, but yeah, moving on to the Rams against the Bears. Wow, looks like the Rams have a high edge against the Bears, huh? Interesting. So I was kind of thinking about this as the playoffs were about to begin, and before I get into but before I get into the pick for this one that I have, um, I just kind of want to say this because I kind of thought about this and it's going into fruition right now. But you had three NFC West teams to start the NFL playoffs from the NFC. And you're looking at where we're sitting at right now. We got an NFC West division rivalry matchup coming in this weekend, and there's potential for an NFC West showdown for the NFC Championship trophy, which, I mean, as long as the Rams beat the Bears coming into this weekend, uh, there's going to be 2 weeks straight where we're going to be seeing two NFC West divisions go up against each other in playoffs. And man, since this is going to be in Soldier Field in Chicago, I mean, this is already a crazy matchup in my personal opinion. It's a big, I don't know. I think this matchup is going to probably come down to Matthew Stafford versus Caleb Williams in terms of the quarterback comparison matchup. Obviously, Stafford has been playing at what a lot of people would say an MVP caliber quarterback to this point of the season. Um, but with it being in Chicago, with the way that the Bears have been finding a way to win games late in the game, I would say right now, give me the Chicago Bears as an underdog to beat the Rams in Chicago and in kind of a weird fashion. What I mean by that is I think they're probably going to win it in roughly the same way that they beat the Green Bay Packers. A lot of even a lot of the teams that they beat over the course of the season, they've won comeback games. Um, I don't really know what the stat line is for how many comeback games that they've had over this season, but um, yeah, it's nuts. Um, but yeah, let me do that real quick. But yeah, give me the Bears to beat the Rams in Chicago. So your NFC championship matchup, in my opinion, coming out of this weekend. Is going to be the so championship matchups, the four teams that are going to be remaining coming out of this weekend, in my personal opinion, are going to be the Bills, the Texans, the Seahawks, and the Bears. Seahawks and Bears for the NFC Championship, Bills and Texans for the AFC Championship. Now, this could completely go by the wayside. I could be wrong on all of these teams coming out of the weekend. But who knows? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Um, and now that we're kind of done with those predictions, let me just, before we get into the next topic that I'm going to talk about here, let me see if there's a new. Let me see if there's anything new. Got a couple of new head coach interviews. Looks like a Titans OC potentially going to the Chargers. Other than that, Falcons are looking at Antonio Pierce for their head coaching opportunity, apparently, or they're at least having an interview. Other than that, injury report officially out for the Texans. So it looks like Nico Collins is out. Trent Brown is questionable for tomorrow's game, and that's not. It's not Sheldon Rankins. That's Justin Watson, who is out for the Texans. What else do we got here? Ian Rappaport. Oh, come on. There we go. Any other injury reports that we got coming into the weekend? No? Okay. Cool beans. Alright, so, as of right now, as we're live going through this, there are still... Where is it? Aha. So there are still 9 head coaching vacancies, soon to be 8. Why I say soon to be 8 is because according to Adam Schefter on X, if I can just pull up one of his things real quick, we're looking at a post from about 3 hours ago. It looks like the Giants are finalizing details on the contract to hire John Harbaugh as the new head coach of the New York Giants coming into the 2026-2027 season for the Giants. And I'm just going to say this right now. Great move by the Giants. For a couple of reasons. Number one, you got a potential star in Jackson Dart. Obviously, he's had like a couple of different injuries that have kind of sidelined him for some games. But I think there's potential for Jackson Dart. Also, Cam Scadaboo coming back next season. That's going to be a huge bump for them. And in my personal opinion, as of right now, with this signing, this may be an overreach, maybe an overreaction, but give me the Giants to win the NFC East division. Like, might be a crazy thing to say, but I think the Giants are winning the NFC East come the end of the 2026 season going into 2027. What the frick is glitching? Can I clip? Reason why I say that, because you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Commanders all as the rest of the teams in that division, right? Let me just take a look at the NFC East real quick. Yeah, because you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Commanders as the rest of the teams in that division. And right now, the Giants just hired a huge culture change for the Giants, in my personal opinion. This is going to be keep an eye on the NFC East come next season, because this is probably going to change drastically. because you look at the head coaches, you look at Nick Sirianni for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're still going to be at top of that division as long as they get the OC correct um, in Philadelphia. Um, Dallas, I mean Dallas is Dallas at this point. What's the head coach of Dallas right now? I can't remember off the top of my head. But you also got Dan Quinn for the Commanders. Um, Holy cow! Why did they picture Pete Carroll there? What the heck? Um, what the heck? Where is? Am I tripping as to where I'm looking for? Oh, Schottenheimer. Okay. Yeah, so you got Brian Schottenheimer, you got Nick Sirianni, and you got Dan Quinn. You got defensive minded Dan Quinn. Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, is offensive minded from my insider knowledge, I think. And then you got Nick Sirianni for the Philadelphia Eagles, who I believe is offensive minded. I think I could be wrong about that, but anyhow, um, huge upgrade for the Giants though in getting John Harbaugh. This is going to be an interesting division going into next season, um, but I also think depending on what the Giants' schedule is going to look like for next year, which I think, what the heck? Why did that open up? No, I did not want that. Let's see. But as far as I'm aware, there is, let's see. Yes. There's huge potential for the Giants to maybe even win the NFC East division next season. Um, Obviously, I think people have figured out kind of the Philadelphia Eagles offense as of this season a little bit. I think that's why they got an early bounce. Um, and I think it's really it's I don't know. I think it also really depends on what moves the other teams make over the course of the next over the course of the next couple of weeks, um, or even in the coming months. Even I mean, draft could be a big factor, but yeah, still give me the Giants to take the take the lead, double their win total from this previous season, and take a huge leap in terms of where they're going to be going for next season. Um, let's see. Um, let's just take a look at the rest of these job openings, though. You got the Ravens and the Steelers, that, in my personal opinion, both of those are very top notch vacancies if you're, an open head coach looking to move to a different team. Obviously, Ravens, you got stars across the board. Steelers is a good one for in terms of like I think you're good in terms of stability. As I mean, as far as if there's potential for um, for there not to be like I mean, it in a sense um, they're gonna let you kind of build. Um, the problem I see with the Steelers, and I think a lot of people that I've been listening to over the course of this past week have kind of alluded to it, but they only the only huge downside, so to speak, in grabbing the Steelers job um, is the potential fact that you might have a year or two where and maybe you only need 1 year where you're just maybe a 3-4 win team, going out of the season. That way you can at least have a pretty high first round pick. Because from what I've been hearing, this is not a very high um, quarterback skilled draft, but next year's not for this year's draft, but for the following draft after this year, there's going to be a high um, volume of good quarterbacks going into the draft for next year. Um, for example, I think Dante Moore is going to be a little bit more experienced going into the draft for next year, because it sounds like Dante Moore is going to be staying in Oregon for 1 more year. You got, let's see, so for Fernando Mendoza is going to be going to the draft this year. You got Ty Simpson, who's also going into the draft this year, from what I've been told anyway. You got, there's another quarterback that's going to Oregon that looks like he's going to be trying to at least compete with Dante Moore. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't really know any updates about Carson Beck. Maybe we'll find out after Monday's game against Indiana if he ends up going to the draft. Depending on how well he plays, he might end up taking Dante Moore's spot, or would have been spot, if you will, in terms of the number 2 pick going to the Jets. But I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, in terms of all these vacancies and stuff like that, you got a huge. There's a lot of opportunities. I mean, obviously, it's going to be tough to try to turn the Cardinals and the Browns around. Because obviously for the Cardinals, you got a very, very tough division in the NFC West with Seattle and the Rams and the 49ers. So that one's going to be a tough one to try to turn around in a very short span. Obviously for the Cleveland Browns, it's just the Cleveland Browns, obviously. I mean, what else can I really say about them? I mean, obviously the AFC North has got um, uh, a very wide range of teams that are pretty good in that division. Obviously, it's also a tough division. Just the Cleveland Browns have just not been very good in said division. The only team, and there's kind of a theme here in these vacancies right now. The only team that I'm not seeing from the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals here. And there could be a reason for it. There could not be a reason for it. As of right now, it just looks like there's just big opportunities for changes in the NFC North outside of the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, honestly, like, and who knows? We might be getting some news coming out of the Cincinnati Bengals that Joe Burrow might not be playing for the Cincinnati Bengals come 2026. Or come fall of 2026. Like that could be a huge difference maker for Cincinnati if that ends up being the case. I'm not gonna say that that's gonna happen, but I think there's a possibility that it can happen. Where are we at? I think we're at 5 on these. But who knows? Let's see. You also got the Raiders and the Titans. Obviously, the Raiders is pretty good. Let's see. So with the Giants potentially filling in their head coaching vacancy, there's like 2, maybe 3 that are good picks here, possibly 4. I mean, you got Atlanta, which has good stars on that team in a very, very weak division from what a lot of people have been saying. I mean, Carolina Panthers showed some huge strides this past season, so they might be a viable, in terms of the Panthers, they might be a viable candidate for, top of their division come next year. Same with the Falcons, as long as they can get the head coach right, I think. Um, I mean, there's also potential to get the quarterback right, but right now there's a lot of question marks in terms of Michael Penix's health and Kirk Cousins, because both of those don't seem like that they've been the right fit per se. Um, it's it's just a tough sell in my personal opinion. Um, but let's see, you got the Titans and the Dolphins. Um, for the Dolphins, there's a lot of cap hit money. It looks like not a lot of ways that you can move a lot of pieces around. Just because you're paying Tua a lot of money, and that turned out to be a bust. Um, but going kind of moving on a little bit from this, but kind of sticking with the I guess the theme of it, if you will. Let me see if I can look up some salaries real quick because this is gonna be a key NFL QB salaries 25. By amount. Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback. Is that what that? Is that what that looks like? Oh no, that's cap hit. That was heading into the season. So Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. How, like, even just looking at all these quarterbacks, there's only two that I'm seeing in here right now that are still in the playoffs right now, and that's Brock Purdy and Josh Allen. So, I mean, what does that say about paying quarterbacks that high amount of money? Like, and maybe I don't really know what else to say because I'm trying to like wrap my head around what exactly the money value means. Um, but I mean, when you pay a quarterback that much, like how much money do you actually have to go around to make it so you have enough money to at least protect? I mean, obviously the Cowboys were able to find a way to protect Dak Prescott, but for all these other teams, it's like, and I don't know, maybe I'm not. Maybe I probably shouldn't get too in depth into that because I don't have a ton of knowledge, but just a little bit of a thought process in terms of um, how well I think, in my personal opinion, making certain quarterbacks the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, like how well that actually bodes well for the team as a whole and not like how much success are you actually getting out of it, right? Like, because you take a look at Tom Brady's career as an example, right? He was never the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, but yet he somehow was able to get 7 Super Bowls. Why is that? Like, and I've also heard from certain sources that he actually took some pay cuts on his salaries so that the Patriots, when he was with the Patriots, he was able to go get, or the team was able to go get offensive linemen to help continue to keep Brady protected, which is why he was able to stay in the league for so long. But also the fact that he was a pocket passer, barely ran out of the pocket, whereas nowadays you're getting a lot of quarterbacks who, to my knowledge, and I think a lot of people would probably agree with me when I say this, but I think there are a lot of people that will look at the quarterback position nowadays and with this league and thinking, oh yeah, it's a scramble quarterback league now, but the ones that scramble the most are also the ones that aren't lasting as long in the league. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, um, right, um, right now is also a pocket passer, but he's also at age 42 potentially still playing the game. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers come this offseason, but there's potential he might still want to play. It might be for a different team than the Pittsburgh Steelers because Tomlin's not now out in Pittsburgh, but there's potential. Um, there's potential um, for a different for Aaron Rodgers to still be playing in this league come next season. Um, I mean, obviously, we haven't really heard anything different from that camp as of yet. So a lot of this is kind of just speculation at this point. Um, but we'll see what happens here. Um, Texas Roland Nico Collins. We already kind of discussed that a little bit. Any new Shefty outside of that? No. Okay. So they haven't really finalized the contract in New York. And I don't understand why, other than I guess it sounded like they were trying to work on the wording, it sounds like, in that contract, which I don't really know. Um, but yeah, anyhow, um, cool. That kind of does it for the NFL coming into this weekend, I think. Um, this matchup on Monday night on MLK Day between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Miami Hurricanes. Um, it's going to be a big matchup, in my personal opinion. With the way that the Hoosiers have been playing to this point, I would have to agree with the matchup predictor and think that I don't think this game is going to be even close. As much as I want to see a close game between both these teams, the way that Indiana has just been absolutely dominating their opponent over the past couple of weeks, let's just, for shiz and giggles, let's just look at the last couple of teams that they've played. They played against Oregon, I want to say last Saturday, I think. 56-22 was the final score against Oregon. And then Alabama, last team that they played before Oregon, 38-3 the final score. Like, they have just been playing at a different level for this playoff. And you know what's even crazier? Earlier in the season, Indiana ended up playing Oregon and it was a 30-20 win. And that was in Oregon, no less. So, I mean, say what you want about how good this matchup is going to be. I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's even close. I think Indiana's going to absolutely dominate the Hurricanes. I mean, the defense is probably going to show up for a couple different plays here and there throughout the game, but Indiana's coming for that 16-0. I'm I'm just gonna say that right now. Indiana's coming for that 16-0, and they are not gonna be denied. They're gonna show that they're not gonna be denied come Monday night. Um, I mean, obviously, we're gonna see how well that ends up actually playing out. We may end up even actually watching it live um, here, but yeah, I don't really have any other words for this game other than this is just. I don't really think this is going to be much of a game. We're probably going to walk into this thinking that it's going to be a game, and then like one quarter in, it's probably going to be like 21-0, Indiana Hoosiers up. Because in my personal opinion, that's just the way that this playoffs has been going for Indiana. They've just been absolutely playing to a top-notch level, courtesy of Fernando Mendoza and how well, what is it, Kurt Signetti has been leading this Indiana Hoosiers team as the head coach of that team. It's just been a different level, a different game for the Hoosiers. It's just, I mean, there's not much else you can really say about this. I don't I don't really know what else to say. It's it's Indiana. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they just have absolutely dominated their previous opponents. Like, you're taking a look at this right now. Like, they just been steamrolling the playoffs right now, and I think this is the Monday night. We're gonna see why they've been steamrolling, and they're just gonna steamroll the Hurricanes, in my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong, but what the heck? Can I at least see the comments? No? Are there any comments? No. Okay, cool. But anyhow, yeah. Indiana, in my personal opinion, is going to get steamrolled. Or going to steamroll the Hurricanes. My personal opinion. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for that. Because, I mean, obviously we all know that Fernando Mendoza is going to go to the draft. He's going to be the number one pick in that draft. Going to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. Who knows who's going to be the new head coach of the Vegas Raiders. We'll see what happens here in the coming months. Because that's just, as of right now, is going to be a remains to be seen. And we'll just kind of see what happens from there. Moving on to we're gonna move on to NBA, and we're just gonna get this started by looking at how much, in my personal opinion, how much the status of the standings has changed over the past month as as I haven't been, doing this for a month. And I do apologize for not being on for the past month. Just some things have kind of come up to where I haven't been able to be live. Just some certain things have come up to where I've just been kind of scrambling around and whatnot. But anyhow, getting that out of the way with the standings in terms of what has changed. Bottom five of the standings in terms of the top five worst teams in the NBA right now haven't really changed all that much. Indiana, still, my personal opinion, having probably the worst turnover from an NBA Finals from a season ago to just not really doing well this season at all. They have yet to find their 10th win of the season. There's potential they might get it tonight against the Pelicans, but I mean, that I'm not gonna say that that's a tough low ball matchup, but we'll see how well that goes. Um, we might even take a break here in about half an hour or two, and then we'll try to see if we can try to cover that game later on tonight. Um, what else do I see here? Um, Wizards with picking up Trae Young look like the. I mean, what? How late was that trade? Wasn't that just recently? Oh no, that's the trade machine. What am I doing here? Where is the transactions? There we go. So that was, what is it, 8 days ago? In exchange for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. So as of when that trade was made between between the Hawks and the Wizards with Trae Young, I didn't really think there was gonna be much. As of 7 days removed from that trade, there still really isn't that much of a difference. Hopefully, with that move, the Wizards can kind of bump themselves up a little bit. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Hawks have won that trade. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, obviously Trae Young is, still a really good player. I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's a where is he in this? I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's an all-star. But he certainly is a star nonetheless. Regardless of whether you like the guy or not. Where is he? Bro, we're serious, right? He's not even in the top. Am I going crazy? Is he not in the top 50 guys in the Eastern Conference right now in terms of stat line? That's crazy. That's crazy. But anyhow, it's yeah, this is crazy. this this is such a crazy world that we live in right now. Cause I mean, obviously you're looking at the way that the trade. I mean, two bottom teams traded stars. I mean, who knows what that's gonna, what's gonna come out of that, right? It's not as big as the trade that we had from a season ago where Luka Doncic goes and gets traded from the Dallas Mavericks over to Los Angeles Lakers for AD. And as of right now, clearly the Lakers have won that trade. Big time. Not only because of the fact that the Lakers are in the playoff, I guess, bubble, if you will, right now, and the Dallas Mavericks aren't. But you take a look at the way that Luka Doncic has been playing this entire season to this point, huge numbers for him this year. 33.6 points a game. You're looking at, 7.7 rebounds, 8.7 assists on average per game. Just a huge step in the right direction for Luka Doncic. He's obviously top notch in terms of the conference, but also it looks like, from what I've recently seen, it looks like he's a top 3 in the MVP leaderboard right now. That's crazy. But also, rightfully so, with the second fan voting returns for the All-Stars, he's number 1 in the All-Star voting right now. and kudos to him because he deserves it, right? Also, where's Austin Reeves? Austin Reeves is also up there. I mean, he's at 11. Um, Obviously, I think the numbers are a little bit lower in terms of the votes for him just because of some of the injuries that have plagued him a little bit as of recent. Um, I don't know exactly what he is out for right now. I'm not entirely informed, so I could be completely wrong. So please correct me if I am incorrect about this. But I think it had something to do with the way that he has been, out earlier this season. Let me just open this up right now so that I don't get this wrong. Diagnosed with a grade 2 left. I don't know how to say that strain. Dang. And it looks like he's out for another 10 days, it looks like. So, a little bit unfortunate for Austin Reeves, but even when, even. I don't know if you guys remember the first month of the season with Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic without LeBron James, right? But you take a look at that, and if you remember some of the conversations that I was having at the very beginning of the NBA season, like the Lakers were up at number 2 right underneath the Thunder, and we were potentially talking about them at one point in the top 5 teams in the NBA alone. But I'm not going to say it's solely on LeBron because that'd be malpractice on my part. I would say it would have to do a little bit with injuries and just obviously with how long the season is. There's going to be some hiccups along the way, right? There's going to be times where there's certain games that just don't go the right way, right? Where, I mean, take a look at the Thunder, right? They're 35-7 right now. 3 of their 7 losses were all to one team, the San Antonio Spurs. Granted, that doesn't really relate to the Los Angeles Lakers situation here, but there's hiccups along the road, right? In my personal opinion, I don't think the Thunder were able to get right their games against the Spurs for 3 out of the 4 games this season. Whether that be related to injuries, whether that be related to the style of play that they were playing against the Spurs, I don't know exactly what happened because I hadn't seen them firsthand, but just looking online and seeing their way that they had been playing record-wise and just looking at the final scores of those games, you just look at those you just look at the final scores and the way that Thunder had been handling their business at the beginning of the season, and you're like, okay, like the Thunder should be able to handle their business against the Spurs too. They just look absolutely unbeatable, right? And then all of a sudden come to the Spurs and they're able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 out of 4 games that they had in the season series. Really? Like, if they see each other in the playoffs, that might be the series to watch. I mean, regardless of when that ends up happening in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's evident. I'll have to look and see if I can find that that post that I saw on X that how do I say this? I guess refines what I'm saying when it comes to like the stat line for the or in terms of, or maybe I can just take a look at their, or hold up, let me go back. Oh, did it open up a whole new tab anyway? Oh no, that's NFL. I'm stupid. Okay, let me just do this real quick. Open that up in a new tab, and then win against the Thunder, win against the Thunder, win against the Thunder, win against the Thunder. Like, and granted, one of them was by 20 points. One of the first one was by 2 points. Second one was by 20 points. Third one was by 15 points. And they just recently lost to them, and that one was by, if my math is correct, I think that's 21 points. So, yeah, the Thunder were only able to figure out the Spurs once so far in the season series. And I think that season series is over, but this might also be the matchup to watch come postseason if they ever see each other in the postseason, which I think is quite highly possible. Um, but we'll see. Um, anyhow, um, but yeah, let's just get into a little bit of what I think has been the top five as of. Yeah, I think I might as well just put the Denver Nuggets there because I think they. I mean, maybe I'm. Yeah, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not gonna do that. Because I will say, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't really been entirely in, in tuned as of recent with the NBA, so I could be completely wrong, but I did keep up at least with the trades and stuff like that, and some of the recent, um, uh, like commentary in games and stuff like that. So not very in depth, but at least in terms of the way that um, yeah, in terms of the way that certain teams have been playing as of late and stuff like that, I haven't really been keeping up with it. But obviously, looking at these standings, it's kind of clear in terms of win losses that you're obviously looking at the Detroit Pistons and being like a huge turnaround over the past few years from the way the Detroit Pistons have been playing. Right, they're right there, and I think they're potentially the team to beat out of the East. Um, I think there is potential for Detroit to become the uh, one team that's coming out of the East that's going to be going to the NBA Finals. I could be completely wrong, um, but um, if you guys want to, kind of shout out and uh, rebut, that'd be awesome. Um, but taking a look at the rest of what I have as the top five teams here, I got the Boston Celtics at five. Um, reason being is that even though they got a really good, even though they're looking at be, e- even though they're placed at number two, um, based off of percentage in games behind, um, or games behind in terms of the number here. Actually, before I go on any further, give me like 30 seconds to a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be right back. I got to grab some water real quick because my throat's really dry and got to grab a couple different things. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Once again, really appreciate all you guys for tuning in. But I will be right back. Give me like 30 seconds to a minute here. Alrighty, I am back. Thank you so much for you guys' patience here. Um, so, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And the reason why I'm going to backtrack a little bit is because of this. Because I forgot to mention something. Where was it? So, when Brian, so earlier in the season, when Brian Dable got fired from the New York Giants, I had originally predicted on the show that Mike McDaniels was on the hot seat and had potential to get fired within the next couple of weeks after Brian Dable got fired. But also, I had predicted that he was going to be, if not fired, in the next couple of weeks following the Brian Dable firing, he was going to get fired at the end of the season. Because just the Dolphins had not been playing well at all. And here we are. There's Dolphins vacancy. They moved on from Mike McDaniels. Which, granted, it looks like Mike McDaniels has a potential opportunity to be, if not head coaching. It sounds like, from what I've been seeing, there's potential he might be the OC for the Detroit Lions for next season. While also, I think there were like some also different head coaching opportunities that he was getting interviews for. I can't remember exactly when I was seeing this, but looks like Mike McDaniel. From what I had seen earlier, like a few days ago, it looked like he had a couple different interviews for a head coaching job with other teams, or if not head coach, offensive coordinator potential for those teams as well. But yeah, once again, I can't remember exactly all the different details and stuff like that, but I didn't think that I was going to be completely correct with the way that I had laid out how that was going to go down in Miami, because I was just honestly thinking about it. And I mean, and at the time, I had originally thought that, this might be just a little bit of an overreach, in terms of the way that I had said it and, covered it and whatnot. But turns out I wasn't too far off, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe I was right on something outside of predicting games for a season. So I just had to say that, just because I wanted to at least, because I didn't remember covering it when we were talking about the coaching vacancies and stuff like that. So anyhow, I just wanted to just lay that back out there. Did I finish top 5 and bottom 5? So excuse me. So I still think that even though the Thunder have just kind of had like this little bit of like this over the past month and a half, I still think the Thunder is still number one. In my personal opinion, the top 5 looks like this, right? Where I think it's going to be the Thunder and the Pistons in the NBA Finals. When it comes to the Western Conference Finals, I think it's going to be the Thunder versus the Spurs. It's going to be a very good matchup between the two teams. I think the Spurs are going to give the Thunder a run for their money in that series, but I think the Thunder win in 7. Eastern Conference, with the way that I saw the Knicks finish out how do I want to put this? With the way that I saw the Knicks finish out the NBA Cup bracket, and with the players that the Knicks have on that roster, I think there is potential for the Knicks to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, with what it looks like right now, if they were to play the Pistons right now, it would be a hard sell. And maybe I'll have to see a few more games to really be like, okay, yeah, I think the Knicks can definitely beat the Pistons at this point, even though their record for the Pistons shows differently. It's tough to say right now that I think the Knicks are going to beat the Pistons. Though I think it's going to go to probably 6 or 7 games. 6 or 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Pistons are going to win in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's why I have them at number 2, and then the Knicks at number 3. Boston Celtics are good. I don't think they're good enough, and they're playing well to this point of the season. I don't think that they have, especially without Jason Tatum, I don't think that they have the pieces, in my opinion, to make the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I think they're still going to be able to make playoffs and make a decent run, but I don't think they're going to be making the Eastern Conference Finals this year as of right now, as we're talking about this, heading into the weekend, for MLK weekend. And again, I could be completely wrong about what my predictions are right now. This has been fluid to this point of the season, and I'm going to try to keep it fluid all the way to at least where the postseason is at. I haven't done, and I probably won't be doing, a top 5 for the NFL at this point, just because we're already at the top 8 that are left in the game. And at this point, any team that moves on is obviously top 5 team in the NFL. I mean, we're all going to be seeing it come this weekend. So, my personal opinion, obviously, as I was kind of stating earlier, I think it's going to be the Bears and the Seahawks in the NFC Championship, and then the Texans and the Bills in the AFC Championship. So, obviously, I think there's reason, and there's ways that you could argue for, obviously, the other teams to make it. But regardless, all these teams in the division rounds are obviously in the top 10. It's pretty plain and simple at this point, in my personal opinion, that these are the top teams in the NFL right now in terms of the top 8. I mean, they've shown it. They've gotten to this point. Come Saturday, let's see who's going to be moving on to the top 4. I'm so ready for this weekend. It's such a good look for this weekend. The NFL looks really, really good. But getting back to the NBA, getting back to these fan votes here for the upcoming All-Star weekend come I believe it's President's Day weekend. Is that correct? 2026, 16th. Yes. Okay. So that's also President's Day weekend. It looks like it's in Los Angeles. But we're taking a look at the Western Conference right now. Obviously, hands down, I 100% agree with Luka Doncic being number 1. Absolutely having my personal opinion, he should and could potentially be ranked way higher in the MVP ladder than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think the only reason why he's not any higher right now is because of where his team, the Lakers, are sitting at in the standings right now in the Western Conference. Um, yes, I think Luka Doncic has been playing well. He may not have been playing well over the past couple of games. I could be completely wrong, but for them, and again, for them to lose the Kings earlier this week, um, but setting that aside and just the way that let's just actually just take a look at Luka Doncic real quick and look at his last 10. Um, last 10 games, 33 points a game, 8 almost 9 assists a game and almost 6 rebounds. So he's doing really well over the last 10 games. Almost 40% behind the arc, almost 50% just in shooting in general, averaging almost 40 minutes a game. Doesn't really turn the ball over much. The only setback or the only pushback that I would have with Luka Doncic is I think he, along with some of the players on the Lakers, have a little bit of a bad habit of trying to overtalk to the refs, in my personal opinion. Now, granted, you could be looking at it going, okay, I might be a little bit too nitpicky with Luka Doncic, but maybe I'm a little bit right in terms of the fact that I think if he was a little less focused on the way that the refs are calling the game, he'd be way better than what he's sitting at right now. And, I mean, potentially, these fan votes could mean something, could mean nothing. I don't know. But, one second. Sorry, I didn't get some more water because my throat's kind of drying up a little bit. But anyhow, you just kind of look at the way that he has been playing even from the beginning of this season as his first full season as a Laker. Like, he's just been playing at a different level. And especially with Austin Reeves on the floor, it's just that 1-2 combo coming out of LA. Like, it's just a different ball game when both Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves have been on the floor. Now, you kind of notice that I haven't really been talking about LeBron James, and this might be a hot take. So get ready. But I think LeBron James needs to get out of LA. I think the Lakers need to trade him away, find a way to get LeBron out of LA, because I think the longer that LeBron stays in LA, the earlier out that the Lakers are going to be when postseason comes around. I could be completely wrong, but bear with me when I say this. I think LeBron just needs to... I think the Lakers need to find a way to get LeBron on a different team. That's my opinion. And, I mean... Here's the thing. You guys could completely disagree with me on it, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say on it, but I don't think that the Lakers can go far in the playoffs with LeBron on their squad. I think he's just, in my personal opinion, just an extra piece on their squad right now that is just in the way, in a sense. Not because he's old. That has nothing to do with... This has nothing to do with his age at this point. It has everything to do with the kind of person that LeBron James has been, not only this season, but just throughout his career. You take a look at the career as a whole. He left Cleveland to go to Miami. He went from Miami back to Cleveland. And then, he's only... How do I put this? He makes decisions for himself. And you even look at the players that he recently tried to get onto the Lakers and where they're at now. Russell Westbrook, number 1. Like, how many people are talking about Russell Westbrook at this point? He's not even, like, I could look down the top 20 on both these lists. I don't even see Russell Westbrook in the top 20 on either of these lists in terms of All Stars. I don't even remember what team he's on. Is he on the Kings? Like, Russell Westbrook is basically a no name at this point almost. D'Angelo Russell, also a no name. I mean, he was kind of. I mean, he was a star on the Brooklyn Nets until he went to the Los Angeles Lakers, and then all of a sudden that whatever situation, however that unfolded, basically unfolded and fell flat in its face. So D'Angelo Russell's basically a no name as well, and then Anthony Davis was with him on the Lakers when they went to that 2020 championship. If you want to call it a COVID year, that, you know, a lot of people want to say that that wasn't even a valid championship, whatever you want to call it. I was honestly glad that AD got his first and got away from the New Orleans Pelicans, because he was able to find a way to get with some help around him to actually get to a championship. Now that's a little bit different in terms of my take of, you know, why I think Steph Curry is higher on the all-time great list. But anyways, we'll get into that later. But anyhow, Anthony Davis has, I don't even know how many games he's played in. He's got plenty of votes in Dallas, so he's probably done pretty decently well, right? I mean, like, as far as I remember, he's been riddled with injuries this season too. Where's the Mavericks? Like, he's out again with injuries. Like, how many games has Anthony Davis actually played this season? 20? And the Mavericks have played like what, 40? 42? Anthony Davis has played almost less than, or exactly less than half of how many games the Dallas Mavericks have had games for. Like, I mean, granted, Anthony Davis also has had seasons where, even with the Lakers, he's had injuries and stuff like that. So maybe this is just a little bit over exaggerated as to, you know, why I haven't really been talking too much about LeBron. But even in the way that I have this opinion, right? But I think I think it's not far fetched that LeBron James is just there as a Laker. He doesn't really help them. He kind of hurts them more than he helps them sometimes, because he doesn't really play a ton of good defense consistently. Yeah, sure, he'll have this highlight reel block every, 5 to 10 possessions or whatever. But I mean, when there's not a lot, and a lot of you are probably going to be like, well, he's in his 40s. I mean, what can you expect from him and stuff like that? You're an NBA player and you've been doing this for how long now? 23 seasons? Like, you're on the floor. Your team expects you to put in some effort. Like, why are you not putting in consistent effort? At least some effort of some sort. Every single game, every single possession. Like, do it not just for yourself, but for your teammates, right? Like, that's one reason why these are team sports, and this is not just about stars, right? Like, the reason why the Pacers were able to make it to the NBA Finals, right, was not because they had stars on the team, but they were a team built to go to the championship, right? Like, you even look at the Thunder, right? Like, the way that they have been playing was not just because of the stars that they have on their team, but the way that they have been playing together as a whole. Like, I mean, even Chet Holmgren and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like, they weren't even considered stars until towards the, like, end of the postseason last year. Like, I don't know, and maybe they were all stars last year, and I don't even remember that too much. But I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I 100% agree with where these votes are at the moment in terms of the top five. You got Wemby, you got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic as the top five coming out of the West. Coming out of the East, you got Donovan Mitchell at 5, Cade Cunningham at 4, Tyrese Maxey at 3, Jalen Brunson at 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo at 1. Like, this also might be a hot take, but I think Giannis needs to find. I mean, and I get the loyalty stuff. I really do, but either the Bucks need to find good pieces to trade for to give Giannis some help in Milwaukee, which they tried to do with Damian Lillard, but he ended up tearing his Achilles. So that didn't really help. But I mean, is it far fetched to say that I think that Giannis needs some help in Milwaukee if he wants to try to get a second ring? Like, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but it's just an interesting storyline for sure. But anyhow, don't hesitate to hit the like button and head into the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. You think these fan votes are a little bit overrated? You think some of the what do you guys think about some of these guys that are on this list? Should they be higher in these lists? Should they be lower in these lists? What do you guys think? Because I honestly think that Austin Reeves should just be a little bit higher in this list. Let's see. Let me take a look at the Western Conference stats real quick. I think Markkanen needs to be higher, in my opinion. Where did it go? Where's the? Let's get Doncic out of here. Let's get Anthony Davis out of here. Let's see. Jokic. I mean, Steph Curry might be rated a little bit high in terms of the fan vote, but I'm surprised that Markkanen has not gotten more votes. And maybe it's because of the way that the team has been playing, but yeah, that's crazy that's how many votes he's gotten. That's insane. But I have a feeling he's gonna get his in terms of the All-Star voting, or in terms of the All-Star when the All-Star break comes around. When did they announce All-Star winners? All-Star winners. Oh. Wow. So they're going to be announcing him in like 3 days, it looks like. So, and I think we'll cover that. I think we'll try to cover that, and we'll try to get your guys' reaction too. Because I actually want to see what your guys' take on this is, because wait, what? But they didn't name. What the heck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, they didn't even mention Stephen Curry. That's kind of crazy. Giannis, Jalen, Tyrese. And they skipped over Cade Cunningham? Bruh. That's crazy. AI got it in for freaking Steph Curry and Cade Cunningham, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't even know what to say at this point. That is wild. I don't even know what else to say at this point. Yikes. Yeah, so says were announced. That language is not correct. It should be are going to be announced. But anyhow, but yeah, I think there needs to be more votes for Markkinen for sure. But oh well, I think the voting's all done anyway. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? Don't hesitate to hit the comment and let me know what you guys think. Out of the Eastern Conference, what do we think here? Let's see. Jalen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Okay, he's up at 6, so that's good. Michael Porter Jr. I mean, I feel bad for some of these players that are potentially going to be all-stars that end up playing on teams that have just been not only just bad teams, but just been bad organizations for the past few seasons. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, outside of, I mean, it didn't help that the Brooklyn Nets tried to create a super team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and a couple other stars that I can't really remember off the top of my head. But so, I mean, there's probably reasons as to why the Brooklyn Nets are kind of in the dumps right now. Because they probably don't have the means to try to go and get different stars or different players at the moment. So that's probably why the Brooklyn Nets are still kind of down in their down on their luck, basically. And then obviously for the Jazz, you got Lauri Markkanen. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Lauri Markkanen for the Utah Jazz, trying to I mean, yeah. Maybe I'm just kind of losing my train of thought here because I think I'm running out of what I want to say here. But anyhow, but that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I think Markkanen should have gotten a little bit more votes, but I think he'll get the All-Star nod in terms of the coaches' vote. Probably Kawhi Leonard's going to be in the same boat. Kevin Durant's probably going to be in the same boat. But if I were to predict what the starting lineup's going to be coming out of the West, with the way that the Thunder has been playing right now, I think you put Shea at the point. I think you put Doncic at the 2. No, I wouldn't put LeBron at the 3. No. This might be a crazy take, but I would put Kawhi Leonard at the 3, Wemby at the no, Jokic at the 4, Wemby at the 5, or would I switch that? No, I would switch that. I would go Gilgeous-Alexander at the 1, Doncic at the 2, Kawhi at the 3. Yeah, Kawhi at the 3, Wemby at the 4, Jokic at the 5. I would honestly be surprised if Jokic does not make the starting All-Star group out of the West. I'd be really shocked if he doesn't. And then coming out of the East, this might be crazy. Yeah, this might be crazy. But I would go. Well, but this might also be obvious. I put Tyrese at the 1, Donovan at the 2. Giannis and Pascal can kind of rock paper scissors for the 3 and the 4, and then I put Karl Anthony Towns at the 5. I mean, I would think that's a solid. I mean, and maybe I would put Siakam at the 3, Giannis at the 4. And maybe that's not a crazy lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's not a crazy all-star starting lineup for both sides. You know what I'm saying? And I do apologize. I did want to at least show you guys what I would have voted or who I would have voted for. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But anyhow, do we have any breaking news before we possibly sign off here? Christian Gonzalez is cleared for play out of concussion protocol. We got UFC fights next weekend, not this weekend. Got a couple more interviews for D coordinator for the Jets. Got an interview for head coach position. Curtis Samuel and Ed Oliver were activated from injured reserve. Both expected to play Saturday against Denver. We already talked about Nico Collins being out. Bills also elevated McCole Hardman Jr. and Frank Gore Jr. from their practice squad. And that's pretty much it from that. So not really any big updates, unfortunately. But what can you do? It's a Friday. There's probably not a lot of craziness going on. There are some games that are going to be going on later tonight on ESPN. And I'm gonna see once I get off the air here. I'm gonna see what I can do about trying to get a live stream for a couple of games going and see what I can do to try to commentate. I'm probably not gonna give you guys any live audio, just because I don't really know what the other. What all the platforms are going to really say about that in terms of copyright and stuff like that. I'm going to try to at least make sure that I post the link in the description. If you guys want to at least listen to the audio version as well. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming for this stream over the weekend, so Um, Stay tuned later tonight for sure. We're gonna try to. Um, I'm gonna try to do the best that I can to try to commentate some games over this weekend and try to not get into the direction of we're gonna be um, put on copyright and stuff like that. Um, but um, that is gonna do it for this show for now. Um, I know in my description we were going to talk a little bit about some MLB stuff as well, but with what I covered from last we left, I think we've got some good material. But don't worry, I will be back live again later tonight. Hopefully, and this might seem like a weird yeah, we'll see what we can try to cover. Hopefully we can try to cover some of the non-televised games in terms of especially the Pelicans and the Pacers. Probably the Clippers in Toronto. I think I want to do that game tonight as well. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just have to go. Yeah. Well, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. I'll probably end up doing. We'll probably end up doing probably the Raptors and Clippers and the Wizards and Kings or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe I'll do a poll after I get off, because I do want to go do a couple of things before later in the night. So I got some other things going on, but let me know what you guys think. That's gonna do it for the show for right now. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. If you guys don't see me before Monday, outside of that, I will be live later tonight to do some games tonight. We'll probably be covering some NFL games tomorrow. We'll probably at least cover the Denver Buffalo game tomorrow for sure. But yeah, we're gonna kind of move this show into a little bit of a different direction for sure. We're gonna try to at least actually cover some live games outside of not just me just doing some talking and whatnot. So let me know what you guys think. But once again, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. I will catch you guys later tonight. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll have a doubleheader later tonight for you guys. So stay tuned. Have a great rest of your day.